Hey, guys. This is Sean DeGray. Nobody knows who that is, but it's me.
And you are listening to
The Gritty Bowman.
It's all in perspective, right? If you could make $150,000 a year, but you had to work 80 hours a week and you were committed to a corporation that you hated what you did, is that more lucrative than making $70,000 a year doing what you love with a lot of free time? And who's richer?
One of the things I never want to say, and I even think this with life, is I never want to say, like, what if? Like, what? I hate that. I hate that feeling. What if I would have done this? Or what if I would have just tried this? Or what if? What if? And there's very few things that I say what if about. Very few things. And that gives me a lot of peace of mind. So that helps give me drive, because I don't want to ever say what if.
Randy always says this, you're going to run out of health before you run out of money.
So tell me, how many camps do you have this year?
This year we have two. We have one in Oregon that's going to be June 16th through the 18th, and then one in Utah. So that was our first stepping out of the boundaries there, and that's going to be July 7th through the 9th. The Utah one, there's actually going to be a lodge. They can rent rooms if they want. But we prefer them to bring a tent or an RV and camp right there with us. That way, the women are all together. They're all experienced the whole experience together. Some of them are real not sure about it at first, and when they're done, they're like, I would never do this any different.
The chance to actually get into and try on women's hunting wear is absolutely priceless.
If you were to go back when you were like 18,
Yeah.
Or 16, 17, somewhere in that time frame, and you were to have gone to this camp, how do you think it would have changed where you are today?
Oh, my gosh. I'd have gotten a lot more confidence and known what I was capable of a lot faster.
Sure.
I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of saying I've never actually shot a bow before.
Cool.
That breaks my heart.
So I'm sorry.
All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowman podcast. We are coming at you from Portland, my hometown, in Oregon, at the Northwest Sportsman Show. And I am here with Candy Yao, my friend Candy Yao, and Asha Aiello. I-L-O. I butchered that. And you've been on the podcast before, and we have Riza Lesser here from Leopold, who's Leopold.
You got it.
Leupold.
Riza Lesser Leupold. You got it.
And we are here to talk about ladies camp.
Yes,
Ladies hunting camp.
that's correct.
Ladies Hunting Camp, official name. It used to be the Northwest Ladies Hunting Camp, but now it's growing.
It's growing very fast.
And we did an episode last year about the camp, and so we're going to revisit that and talk about that today, and kind of get into the details of that. Before we do that, let's go around the horn here and tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are for folks who don't know. I mean, of course they know who you all are, but just in case. Let's start with Candy.
Okay, I'm Candy Yao. My husband Randy and I have the show Extreme Desire TV, which is Western big game hunting, backcountry, do-it-yourself type stuff, kind of crazy sometimes, but real. And I started 4 years ago. I started the Northwest Ladies Hunting Camp at that point, and it has grown. So it's something that I'm pretty passionate about.
All right.
So, Riza Lesser, I work at Leupold. This is my hometown as well, and I've been there 9 years. So, I'm on the marketing team. So, I have seen many a trade show, met a lot of great people, and I had the pleasure of meeting Candy last year when she came in to visit us at the factory. So, we've kind of just been buds ever since, and anytime she needs something, she calls me. And
you went to the camp.
I did.
So, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
All right. Asha?
My name is Asha Aiello, and I am the marketing manager of the Cabela's in Tualatin, Oregon. I also serve on the Oregon Outdoor Council, which is fighting for hunters' rights here in Oregon.
Yep.
And I've served on quite a few other boards and whatnot in the last few years.
And you're still kind of a newish hunter, huh?
I am, yeah. I would say at best, if we don't count the years that I was probably annoying the heck out of my husband learning, probably about 4 or 5 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And that's kind of what this ladies hunting camp is all about.
Absolutely.
Getting new women into hunting that really don't know where to begin. So with that, tell us a little bit about the camp, Candy.
Sure. Yeah. For years, actually 30 years, I trained horses. And what I saw, I would travel all over the West Coast with some of the top trainers and put on seminars. And what I saw is that women are really hungry to learn and to sort of, not sure about the word empowered, but they are. They want the skills where they feel they can do stuff themselves. And so when I started getting real serious into the hunting with Randy, I've always hunted, but when we started getting real serious, I noticed that the women had the same drive to learn. And I said, why don't we try this? It worked with horses. Surely it'll work for this. And it just really sort of exploded. It's pretty cool. It's what's really cool is to watch them after they've attended one of these and they learn these skills and they go out and actually use them and harvest an animal and feel safe in the woods. And
Riza, was this your first time?
It was. I hadn't even heard of it. And through some mutual friends, they said, you got to meet Randy and Candy. You got to hear what they have going on. It's in your own backyard, talk to them. And she said, hey, we're popping over. We'll be in your area. Can we come by and see you? And they kind of just gave me a rough description of what was going on. I had no idea how amazing it was going to be. I mean, I got to go and she's like, go and just check it out. Well, then I was like, I'm going to go to all the classes. I want to see everything that's going on and just kind of jump in the middle of it. And there were some incredible ladies there. Some, at various experience levels. I mean, some were completely new and thought about it. Yep. And came from maybe a non-hunting family, and other girls have been doing it for years. So
tell me about those classes, because there was quite a few. We listed them out on the last time we did this podcast on this camp, and I was impressed with the instructors and the classes that were going to be available.
Absolutely. It was everything from like gun dog training, bear hunting. If you want to do the orienteering, you could go out and, shoot pistols, shotguns, whatever you wanted to do. It was a big variety. And there were more choices of classes than you could possibly do in the 2 days that we were there. So you kind of just had to, it was like a lotto, and you just bounce around
pick your favorite stuff. And
absolutely.
And then which class was the one that was the most impressive to you?
I kind of snuck into all of them. I'm not going to lie. Don't tell anybody, because I'd be like, okay, I went to this, and then I'm going to go to this one. I'm trying to think. I think at the time, because I had like a 3-month-old puppy that was in training, I think that, Michelle's class for the gun dogs and stuff like that, and hearing about the gear and the tips and techniques was probably like meant the most to me at the moment, because it's new for me.
Right.
So
were you intimidated by, I guess you've been hunting for a while, so... But
I didn't grow up doing it, though. So I
Okay.
learned in my 20s. But I had a good group of friends. So, I mean, I have now been hunting for quite a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah, at the time.
Because I think a lot of women are as they get into it, maybe they don't have friends or family that did it, and here they are wanting to do it. I could see them not choosing to go to the camp because it's just like, I'm so new at this. I don't want to be embarrassed.
No, there is that. I don't think you run into that like you do with men. I think women are a little more open-minded in wanting to learn, and other women are more accepting and make it more of a friendship. But there is some, and I didn't see it last year. The year prior to that, we had a lady that she was so insecure in her own self that she basically didn't want to participate much, and it became sort of a problem. But she still gave us rave reviews and said she'd come back. So
Nice.
I think we all left with more friends than when we got there. I mean, it's hard not to spend all day with someone and see struggles or success and all of that together and not have some sort of bond that happens at this camp.
Yeah. Okay, so Asha, you work for Cabela's, and you've helped supported this camp for how long now?
My predecessor supported it as well, and our store's been in existence for just under 3 years. So the store
That's the store in Tualatin?
Correct, and the store in Springfield did support it before that.
Okay. Tell me about some of the companies that are supporting.
Oh, we've got some great companies, great companies. Obviously, Leupold. They brought their optics. Riza gave some demonstrations with them. That's one of the things I really like about it. Not only are they giving us product and door prizes for the ladies, but they actually come do hands-on. Like, I can't tell you how to run optics the best in the world. I know what I do when I'm out there, but she's a professional at it. And it was interesting, as you said earlier. Weatherby stepped up and brought one of the new Camillas that was just out last year, and we got to shoot those, and there was one of those given away. the same thing. Those ladies jumped right in and helped, along with everything else. Benchmade, Matt from Benchmade came over and we did our quick quartering. We use a pig there. We're hoping to actually get an elk this year, but we just go ahead and skin it and quick quarter it out, and the ladies get in there and he gives some knives away, and you better watch it because them ladies, they don't mind getting bloody. They jump right in.
I think that was probably the other. I saw more girls jumping in, like almost pushing people out of the way to get their hands on that.
That's
Benchmade.
neat.
That was cool.
Pretty cool. Bravo Manufacturing, they've been with us since the first one.
We are in a wall tent at the Northwest Sportsman Show, which is nice because I was over at the XXX archery booth, and it's a little crowded in there. And so here we got this little quiet corner in the Bravo Manufacturing wall tent here. What do you like about this tent, by the way?
I love them. We have one at home, and we take it everywhere. And I'm not joking, I could live in it. It's that comfortable. We use it for everything. I mean, when we go gold mining and playing in the mountains, we take our wall tent. When we go hunting, we take our wall tent, unless you're taking an RV or you can't get a wall tent in. And then I'm also silliness president of our rodeo over there, and we set the wall tent up. And when we have our concerts, our meet and greets are in there. So we've got Lone Star, Chris Cagle, all kinds of people have signed our wall tent.
That's awesome.
They're great. They're great for everything.
That's cool.
We don't head out into the woods without ours. I don't care whether we're literally just camping for the weekend. We're taking the wall tent. So
comfortable.
What are the folks like that own Bravo?
Oh, they are.
Are they like
incredible?
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. John and Heather, they've been with us since the very first year. We met them right here at this expo and became dear friends. That's when we ordered our first wall tent through them. We've had wall tents before, but John is so anal, he'll drive you nuts. And he'll laugh when he hears this, but he is so anal. There's nothing in here. If he thinks it might break, he'll redo it 10 times over until it's absolutely perfect.
That's cool.
They're great people, great supporters.
Heather is a huge bear hunter, which is, I'm going to venture to say, fairly rare. A lot of females, when we hunt, bear is not the first thing we turn to.
Yeah.
And Heather actually just gave a presentation recently for a Predator Symposium run by OOC on bear hunting.
Okay.
And the audience was largely male, and I've never seen a better response. I mean, her presentation was amazing, but her just general composure, the way she is as a person is so approachable, and she's gotten me excited about it. And I'd bear hunted a couple times and didn't love it, so I'm excited to go try it again. And Heather, she's amazing.
So tell me about like a typical day at camp.
Oh,
how does it go? Like, what's your itinerary like?
In the past, we've started Friday evenings with a barbecue, and we'll maybe do some demonstrations or classes. We're going to change that this year, but we're going to start Friday morning. Hopefully they'll come in Thursday evening. If not first thing Friday morning, we're going to run classes all day long. And as she said, there's more classes than you can sign up for. For instance, if you're not interested in bear hunting, you wouldn't go to that class, but you might take turkey hunting or elk hunting, or, we have numerous varieties of different classes. Orienteering, you can just pick and choose. We encourage all the women to take at least pistol and rifle, although we offer shotgun and archery too, and I think everybody does.
I did all four. So.
They're so fun. You're not just shooting, it's just a hoot. So, so you're in classes. The very first thing is you do a safety class. It's mandatory. If you don't take that, you don't shoot any of the firearms. And then you do 2 classes. We take a break for lunch. You do 2 more classes. And then in the evenings, this is really fun, we have an outdoor fashion and concealed carry fashion show.
That's right.
So it's a hoot.
I got some of the guys to model last year,
Oh,
too.
yeah?
I'm not going to lie. Oh, yeah. We had our pro gear on, and then I made the boys demonstrate.
Right?
Yeah, so.
They were wanting, to touch all the products on all the ladies as they come around. So,
yeah.
Turnabout's fair play, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. So tell me about this fashion show thing. A little more detail here.
Yeah, we just, most of the ladies have a product that they wear. I'm sponsored by Cryptech, so I wear Cryptech. We have a lot of pros there. Trying to think of some. We had some outfit her there from Cabela's. Numerous. I think there was 5 or 6. We had some Sitka there, and the ladies just go try on their, put their outfit on. You can do the rain gear over the top again. I did the Cafaro packs last year and showed them how you can do that. It's not really a catwalk. We just kind of go around the bonfire, but. So, and then a lot of concealed carry. There's a lot of options out there for ladies.
That's neat to see because, to be able to see where different people like to carry it and how they've experimented with that, and when you're a woman, in the woods, I think that, and alone, there's a certain comfort that comes from carrying a sidearm.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
In a way that I talked to Rihanna Carey about one of her hunts where she killed a bull elk solo, and then she runs into this during archery, and then she ran into a guy that was just a little creepy, and she's alone, and here's this guy, and she's in the mountains, and nobody quite knows exactly where she's at except for this guy, and it's nice to have, just some personal protection like that. And know how to use it.
And if you don't mind my adding, for us personally, I know when I first started out hunting, the chance to actually get into and try on women's hunting wear is absolutely priceless. You need to know, it is so important to know how it fits and how it moves, and simply trying it on and have women there that have worn it, executed it, really put it to the test. They've gotten blood on their gear, they've sweated through it. To have that expertise and being able to actually tangibly try it is priceless. You can't. It's harder to get that at a show. You can't just sit there and be like, "Hold on, I'm gonna try that. Be right back."
Yeah.
And to hear our experiences with it, we use this stuff in the field. The ladies that were up there modeling it, they know their stuff, and this is why I use this when this fits me because of this. Now it may not fit someone else that way, but this is what I like this for. And everybody was very open. It was kind of cool, like we were talking before about branding. We're all in this together.
Yep.
And I have my preferences that I stand with, but
yeah, exactly. So what else happens?
She overfeeds us. She forgot to mention that, by the way, when she said, "Oh, we break for lunch and then more classes." It's insane.
We want them full. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I like food.
We'll usually do it.
We all do. I love food.
You gotta have good food.
Yeah.
Although we're not going to do the cooking this year. That's too much. So we are going to have it catered, but I'll make sure that it's plenty and it's good.
Okay.
We do a Dutch oven demonstration at least one of the nights before or after dinner where you can do a dessert or something. So they can watch that, but then they actually get to eat it too. So.
And where do people stay? Where do the gals stay?
Well, that's what's kind of cool. The Utah one, there's actually going to be a lodge. They can rent rooms if they want. But we prefer them to bring a tent or an RV and camp right there with us. That way, the women are all together. They're all experienced the whole experience together. Some of them are real not sure about it at first, and when they're done, they're like, "I would never do this any different. I would never drive to a hotel."
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Yeah,
some would go further away and for the night, and then they come back and be like, "Oh, I missed all the good stuff last night."
Yeah. So we prefer them to do that. Obviously, if they're not comfortable with that or, don't have an RV, we'll make accommodations somewhere. Now, the Oregon camp this year is going to be 30 miles from the closest motel. So we're super encouraging them to
buddy up if you don't have a tent or an RV.
Some of the ladies will bring. One lady brought an RV last year, and she says, there's room for 3 or 4 more women if you want to. So there's always that option, too.
Yeah.
That's also what makes it really unique, as I saw more women that didn't know each other offering to pick people up at the airport or drive people or carpool or whatever you could do to enable other women. And I think that that's really unique, not just in our industry, but just for something like this where I may not know you, but I'm going to trust you to get into my car because we're both going to go spend this weekend together.
Yeah. How many new friends do you have, Riza?
Off at camp, I got quite a few emails, but mostly it was about questions, about the optics and stuff. Like, hey, I saw this. Do you mind helping me walk through, these scenarios? What do I need? And I can't even tell you. I couldn't keep track of it all. I mean, it's a tight community, and then it just keeps growing from there. So then you meet their friends, and, it just kind of expands. So I tried to talk to everybody at camp. I may not have been successful at all of it because I was jumping to every class. But, I mean, anytime someone needed something, anybody would stop and chat. So it was awesome.
That was one thing we talked about last time was, you had one camp, and I was concerned that there would be a lot of people who want to participate, and you just have this one thing.
Right.
So it sounds like you've grown.
We're growing. It's, we're not sure exactly how to do it. When we took 1 week off to put on a camp from our paying jobs, that was fine. But now that we're talking about doing 2 and I mean, I've got states lined up everywhere, including Canada, that want it. I don't know how I can financially do that. So that's where we're at now, is trying to figure out how we can continue this and take this on the road and help all these other places.
Yeah. Because this is a brick and mortar activity. You're not creating some YouTube video and then posting it and it goes to 50 million, people, right? Yeah. This is hands-on, one-on-one, not just training, but also building relationships and friendships, which I
Right.
think is tough for women. Like, there's a lot of men that hunt, and
Yes.
the pool of women that hunt is growing, and it's awesome. But that group is still pretty small.
It is.
And so this affords that opportunity to truly make a friend, for women to make friendships in the industry or with other women who love to hunt. So, so tell me, how many camps do you have this year?
This year we have two. We have one in Oregon that's going to be June 16th through the 18th, and then one in Utah. So that was our first stepping out of the boundaries there, and that's going to be July 7th through the 9th.
A lot of hunting and outdoor stuff right
Great
there in that
support
hub.
right there too, yeah.
Easy to get to. Yeah. It's
Yes.
nice.
That's super cool. So how do people sign up?
Okay, it's super easy. It's the name of the camp, ladieshunting.com. Registration's up
If
for
guys
both.
want to register,
That's funny. There's actually a lot of men there. We do not, the only rule we set down is they're not allowed to go to the classes with the ladies. They can go to a class and watch somebody
so
else.
husband
but
and wife can go.
Yep.
But the husband's he
He can hang out. He can go hiking. He can watch the other classes. Usually we put them to work, especially if they're talented.
cooking.
You know,
You're
or
cut
they're
chopping
get over
wood.
there. Yeah, right.
Or they're in the fashion show, so you gotta be careful. Yeah, you could go. You might have to model.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's awesome.
And we encourage children too. The only thing is, if they want to participate in the classes, they have to have their hunter ed card with them to prove that they've been through that. And obviously, we don't want them just running loose. There's firearms around, so they have to be monitored. But several are bringing their children. Yeah.
Okay. And how many spaces do you have per camp?
We're going to cut it off at 50.
Okay.
And, I don't know on the Utah. We're putting the ranch together right now. I've never even laid eyes on it.
Okay.
I know it can hold more than 50, but for our first year, we're probably going to cut it off at 50. It's going to take 25 to 30 instructors and helpers anyway, so you're pushing it right up to 100 people.
Yeah.
So,
How many, like when you say, like, how do people register and how much does it cost?
Okay, it's $299. And that includes your food. So we're trying to keep it where everybody can do it if they want to. Anybody can save $300 if they have to, in 6 months' time. So, and I want to leave it that way. A lot of people said raise it up so, you can start paying yourself. This has all been just pro bono at this point. And I'm not comfortable with that. In fact, I think we had 3 scholarships last year. And I'm working on getting 3 more, and we used those. There were ladies at the last minute were just dying to come to this and didn't have $300. OHA, I know, stepped up and wrote out a full scholarship. So great programs like that, too, that help these ladies get in there, and they're very appreciative.
That's awesome. I like that.
It's pretty cool. You're signing up, aren't you?
We're going to see him in his
I'm
tutu.
going to try to get my wife to sign up,
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Then you can come.
especially the Utah one. And she's still, she's still warming up. She's got a bow. She's not quite ready to shoot a gun.
Yeah.
She kind of wants to. She wants to shoot a handgun, just for self-defense and to
Sure.
get comfortable with that.
I started bow hunting first. That's how you get hooked.
Yeah,
So.
and so she likes archery quite a bit. So, so we're working on that.
Perfect.
We got the kids, and so that makes it tough because, if we go together, we have our oldest that's 13, so we can ditch her with the other kids and go.
She can participate.
Yeah.
She's old now.
She is, yeah, and she's a great archer. She
Say, I
goes
got
to
a
all the-
13-year-old girl, too. Come on, we can team them up.
She
There you
goes
go.
to the Total Archery Challenge, and she's pretty lights out. She's
That's
a good
cool.
she's a good shot. So, when she's concentrating, after about halfway through Total Archery Challenge, she's just winging arrows. Can we go, Dad? I'm hot. It's so sweaty.
Comes with 13.
I was going to say, that is 13.
Yeah.
But at the start, she's all about it, and then about an hour and a half in, she's done. So,
Yeah.
that's okay. So 13-year-old, she can go
Yes.
and she can participate.
Hunter
get
safety
registered.
card, but yeah.
Yeah, she's got that.
Then set.
Perfect.
Okay. Tell me about, what is one of the most rewarding experiences from the camp last year? Anybody can take it. Any
So
success
Candy-
stories
Candy
or
shared with me, and then sorry, Rita.
No, you go.
So Candy shared with me right afterwards as we were building kind of a proposal to try and make this bigger.
Yep.
There was at least 4 women, a couple of which I become friends with now, that all tagged out after camp. And I'm not talking about went on a solo hunt. I'm talking about tagged out and bucks that I would die to
Yes.
chase. I
Really?
mean,
These women are successful.
Yeah, it's not a matter of like, oh, yeah, I can hunt now, and then nothing ever happens. The follow-up is insane, and they are so excited to share pictures and how they did it and what they did it with, and their success is unlike anything I've ever seen.
That's cool.
It's very
That's
cool.
empowering.
Yeah, that almost brings me to tears when they share that on the social media, or they won't put it on the ladies hunting camp page, and I'm like, hey, get it over there. Yeah, it's super cool.
What about the gal in New Mexico
Oh.
who had never hunted before, won the Camila, then we gave her an
Yes.
optic, and she was going out for the first time.
She heard about it on your podcast last year, signed up the last week, and she says, I've never hunted, I've never done anything at all in this field, but I am a single mom and I have a 10-year-old boy and he wants to hunt. So I want to learn how to hunt so I can be a better parent for my child. And she flew up here, was one of the ones that caught a ride with someone from the airport, never meeting them before, came to the camp. I think we did give her a partial scholarship too, because she couldn't afford it at the last minute. Got to the camp, won the Camilla rifle with the Leupold scope on it. And then at the last minute before she came, she put in for a tag down there, drew a bull tag.
Really?
And
It was her lucky year.
tag.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and she was successful. I mean, just take that in a 6-month term, and you're like, whoa.
That's cool.
Now, I'm not saying she learned it all at the camp,
Right.
but she learned a lot, and she had the support group behind her. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's a pretty good
That-
success
that-
story.
that's a good story.
yeah.
Riza, what was your favorite part?
I think it was,
I mean, besides the dog thing.
besides the dog thing, I think it was just seeing the excitement and how many questions that you were getting about either a hunt that you've done or, since I have done some bow hunts before. I mean, it didn't have to just be with what my company or my brand was, just questions about hunting and just how interested these girls were and how serious they took it. Like, that was really cool. I don't know very many scenarios where you get to meet people that passionate about it and wanting to take any advice that you have from your gear and why you use stuff and taking that to heart and then maybe twisting it in their own way that works for them. But this is really cool to see with the gals.
Asha, what do you have to say to somebody who's listening, a gal that's listening, that is thinking about maybe wanting to do this? What would you say to her?
Do it. And it's not because I'm sponsoring. It's not because I've been in those places. And there is no good time to start. There's no perfect moment. There's no, I'm going to meet the right, guy or gal who's going to help me. If you don't do it for yourself, nobody will. And I have learned more about myself, about who I am, about what I really have to offer through hunting. And I am tougher than I ever gave myself credit for. Putting, 40, 60, 70 miles on my boots in a week and not complaining and dealing with blisters. Friend of mine actually drew a sheep tag in Oregon, never hunted a day in her life.
Wow, that's not fair.
That is not fair.
I was like 18.
She called me. And we had a great discussion. She had a great support system with her. I can't wait to try and get her to this camp. I know she's going to be super excited.
And she's going to be at camp.
I don't know yet. I haven't rounded her up yet.
cool.
But she's incredible, and she did a lot of it herself. And she said the same thing. She's like, I just didn't know how tough I was, because I think we tend to underestimate ourselves from time to time. And there is no perfect moment, and you will never meet a more amazing group of women. Just in 2016 alone, I was blessed to meet Candy and Riza. And I can't tell you the amount of support and love I've faced, and just the sheer amount of access of stuff I have to now. Simply from questions to gear to, if I'm out in the field and I find, gosh, my XYZ isn't working for me, I have this whole group of women to call and say, hey, what worked for you? And there's no fear, there's no judgment, there's nothing. And there is no better way to get started.
I like to do CrossFit, and there's a gym in Happy Valley that's like my family home, like my other family. And I talk about this sometimes. So I've been back for this week, and I've gone to the gym. I've been back 2 days. I've gone 2 days, and it's just like I go there, and we all hug each other, and it's like I've come back to my home, And I haven't got that in Colorado yet, so So I'm there, and I go in, and then we do these workouts together, and we suffer. Like, we suffer together.
Yeah.
And there's something about that I think shared suffering builds just a stronger relationship. And so when you go hunting and you forge these relationships at camp, and then you go hunting and you tell your story about going 40 miles, and you're like, this was rough, but I achieved this. And you talk to another gal that you made friends with at the camp that suffered the same way you did. and you're sharing those stories, I feel like it creates relationships in a way that you just wouldn't have without that.
It's very strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a shared bond in pain because whatever you had to do to get past that pain, you did it, and you all did it in your different way. And there's a point where you can drop your guard and say, this was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't care whether it was solo or with someone or with a group of people. And to look at another woman and go, God, I've so been there. Or, wow, I understand.
But I did it.
But we both did it, and now you know what you can. I also do CrossFit. And it's the exact same thing, man. There's times that I can't. I halfway through class, I'm like, I'm going to go face down on the floor. This is going to be really embarrassing. But there's always somebody there to lift you up.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with this, with the camp, with the community that Candy's created, with women in general. There's something really special there.
I was talking to Cody Rich yesterday here at the show, and he was telling me that for him, similarly, that struggling, really changes who you are. That what he's done in the mountains, riding horses way in there, being cold and wet and hungry, it doesn't sound like a lot of fun, right? And then, he takes his Sharps rifle from like 1874 and he shoots a big elk, and he's like, and he achieves this thing and he brings it out, and it was such a hard thing. And he's like, that changes how I see life on a day-to-day basis. Like when I'm stressed or I'm faced with something that's hard or difficult, he's like, I think back and it's really, it's not that hard, really. What we think is difficult, it's like, no, it's not.
Right.
But that's what sharpens us. That's what makes us a better person, is pushing ourselves to the limit without going too far and then achieving something. And I know last year we talked a little bit about the difference of, when a woman harvests an animal than a man. And I'm not saying that we have more pain getting there, but we might if we didn't do our CrossFit. But I think there is a little more emotions in it. And once these women achieve this, it's in there forever. And, they become so much stronger and so much more passionate because I think they have such an ultimate appreciation for the harvest.
Totally.
Riza, I was going to ask this question, like, if you could go back 25 years to but you might be 7 then or something. So we're not going to.
Wait a minute.
I'm just going to say something like, or maybe 2. But if you were to go back when you were like 18, or 16, 17, somewhere in that time frame, and you were to have gone to this camp, how do you think it would have changed where you are today?
Oh my gosh. I'd have gotten a lot more confidence and known what I was capable of a lot faster than I did. Because it literally took me being outside and making these accomplishments to get to where I am now. But I mean, I kind of grew up an only child, super shy, all of these things. And, you have all that self-doubt, and you'd be the person in class that maybe didn't want to draw attention to yourself. Mm-hmm. But being there and, seeing like even what my 13-year-old's doing with this camaraderie with the hunting community, it causes you to just come out of your shell. And then you find out you're not the only one with the struggles or, what you can learn. And every single day just bettering yourself. I wish I would have had the opportunity to do it a lot sooner than I did. So anybody thinking about it just needs to get out there and do it. Just get over your own fears or whatever you have in your head and just go. You're going to have a great time.
That's cool. Any parting words before we wrap up? Anything you want to let people know about, or anything you want to talk about?
Email's on there when you go to register. If you don't want to register and you have questions, just shoot me an email. Okay. It's right there on the website.
And the website?
Ladieshunting.com.
And you said you had a social media?
We do. We have Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. What's your Instagram handle?
Ladies Hunting Camp.
Ladies Hunting Camp.
Yep.
Okay.
And same thing for Facebook. So they can go on there, and a lot of the ladies that harvested animals this year, or like one lady had never attended, she's already doing blogs and doing all kind. We share it all on there, so it's all a part of everybody that went. Okay.
And it's like ladieshuntingcamp.com.
Yep.
And right there they can register for the classes and sign their daughter, their children up, and all that.
Yep. It's all right there. We don't have all the instructors up this year. There's a few things missing. I'm working on the website, but you can register. I'm taking registrations every day. So.
Okay. And do people decide on the classes they want to take when they register, or is that something that they do when?
We'll do it probably 2 weeks prior to, once I have all the instructors and when they can come in. Sometimes we have to work it around a little bit. But I'll have that up on the website probably 2 weeks prior to the camp. I prefer to have that all done. I'm not an organized person, so doing that at the last minute, especially if you don't have internet service where we hold the camp, which is frequent, can be a little bit of a mess.
So can people go onto the site right now and kind of see what classes
You betcha.
are
Yep.
available or were available last year?
Correct.
And you can see it's going to be archery, it can be skinning, it can be you can
There'll
get
be
the whole
photos from
thing.
last year, and
Right.
what we were
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
definitely go online and look.
Go check it
Yeah.
out,
And I'm
folks.
sure you're in the group too, so we're all available
yeah.
on there if they have questions.
Most definitely. I would also say too, if you've gone in the past or
Mm-hmm.
you've been thinking about it, or every year is a different experience, or if you've moved states, you're in Utah, go to, don't be afraid to go back again, especially if you feel like you just need that camaraderie. It can be a battery recharge for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and just go, okay, I'm around my people again. I'm around
Well,
people
and I
that
think
will
there's
answer
more
those questions.
classes than you could really take or
Exactly.
really take
Right.
in. So
Yeah.
it's like I hit these last time, I'm going to hit these this time.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of saying I've never actually shot a bow before.
Oh, cool.
That breaks my heart.
So I'm sorry. I'm not there. I've been trying to pick, I've been hunting 4 or 5 years. I've
Yeah.
been trying to pick one thing per year, and I had to get proficient with something first. So first it was rifle, then it was shotgun.
This is
Yeah,
the
it's
year
my next
then.
step.
This is
So, for me, I would go for maybe pistol and handgun, but I would also be going because I'm like, hey, I'd love to shoot a compound bow for
Yeah.
the first time. I'd like to be around people that can really teach me how to dial that in.
They have a lot of fun in that class.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of fun.
Archery's fun, man.
I can't wait.
Just
It
is
I
fun.
can't wait.
So is
Yeah.
shooting guns, though, too. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
But it can expand your season too. I mean,
Yes.
so you
Yeah.
can do a lot more.
There's not much of an off season for me as it is.
I
these
I know.
days,
We all
so-
find more and more ways to keep it going here.
Yeah.
Goodness,
That's the
yeah.
thing is, especially though, you can if you really want to suffer, you can do late season blacktail, like around November 17th, in your buddy's backyard across the street from you. Well, I'm not sure where you live. It might not be rural enough, but that's the great thing about this area is I would sneak off from work and hunt in the morning and show up late to work, or I'd sneak off early and hunt the evening, and I would basically try to hunt even though I was working all the time. Still, I could still fit in a lot of
You bet.
bow hunting for blacktail, and because it gets dark at like
Yeah.
5:30,
Feels like 2
I still
o'clock.
get home and hang out with the family and all that in the evenings. It feels like I'm getting everything. Like I'm hunting and I'm going to work and I'm still spending time
Sure.
with family. I mean, I may end up working less. I may be useless for like 2 weeks, actually. I may be in the office just dreaming about hunting, but still.
I started hunting blacktail. I tease my husband now. I did all the things you could have helped me start hunting with. We chose blacktail, really.
I know.
So I was wet, miserable, and cold.
Sometimes
and
you don't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
long time?
I grew up in Southern Oregon, so
Oh, okay.
blacktail heaven.
You see them
No
during
doubt.
elk season then.
You're
I
right.
saw them-
For sure,
I
yeah.
saw them all year round, and we always knew. Actually, growing up, we knew it when it was hunting season because they were not a deer to be found.
Yep.
Like they would be completely prolific, and I swear to you, at 11:59 on the night before hunting season,
Yep.
There they were.
Oh, yeah.
gone.
Yep.
It's bizarre. And the Willamette Valley is even worse than the Southern Oregon. They actually move during the day a little bit. So,
They do. They move quite a bit.
yeah, here. But you can shoot a
Coast
doe.
range.
You can, depending on your tag. I mean,
Yeah.
my husband, we've alternated doe tags because my family has property in Southern Oregon.
And the does
so-
are much easier to kill because they have fawns they have to feed. Like there's like this. Not that I'd shoot one with a fawn. I would never do that.
Right.
But an older fawn I might. But it tastes good, man. Blacktail
yeah.
are good.
Oh yeah. I had
So
one of the coolest stories a little bit pro staff this year. His dad passed away this year. A very, very close relationship. Had hunted with this really old rifle. Never let him have a scope. His first scope was a loophole. But he had to wait till he was 18 and save his money because he
Okay.
learned how to hunt with iron sights.
Okay.
So his dad died this year, and he's bow hunted, he's rifle hunted, big tuna fisherman. And this year he was out in property blacktail hunting and had never gotten a blacktail before, and he got a blacktail
Sounds
with
familiar.
his dad's with his dad's rifle
Oh,
with just the iron sights.
wow.
Yeah, it was like he tells it. He's such a better storyteller than I am, and I'm crying, right? Like I'm
Right.
sobbing, and I was like, "That's the best story I've ever heard, Dave." And it was really something special. But he hadn't eaten blacktail before, so
Yeah.
he brings it home, and he cooks it up, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I've never had anything like that. I've only hunted whitetail and mule deer." And I
Yeah.
went, "Buddy,
it's different.
oh yeah."
I ran into a guy yesterday who likes the podcast. He's from Utah, but he's here for pharmacy school, and he and his wife we're walking around, and she's not a big game person, like eating it. Like she's like, I've had a lot of mule deer in Utah, and anyway, he was really excited to come here in the Northwest, and he had a goal to shoot a blacktail. So he got a great buck last year, and she just is not interested. But she ate the blacktail, and she's like, that's not like anything I've ever had. And she's like, now I'm like all about it. Like, let's shoot a couple and let's eat blacktail.
Now you got to
like,
break it to her that it's really not that easy, right?
Yeah, right. He got lucky, I think. He hunted 1 year and got skunked, and then the second year he got his first blacktail, which he was glad because he's not sure where he's going to live after he graduates. But when you're in the Northwest, you got to try it. You got to try it because it's a different animal. I just got back from Alabama, and I was hunting whitetails last week, and they are rutting hard right now.
Oh, wow.
And some kind of bizarre, like, it's weird because they're rutting here, and then an hour north or whatever, they dropped antlers.
Wow.
I mean, they're the same deer. Like
That's
they're cycled because they think when they populated them, they brought some in from like Texas or something.
Sure.
That they just
So timing's off.
the timing is just weird. Isn't that weird though? So they're not going to interbreed because
Right, yeah.
Wow.
they're just off.
Yeah.
So they have these two deer populations. It's really interesting. But I don't even remember. They're just different, way different hunting whitetails than it was blacktails. A different kind of animal. And I thought they'd be more similar because I use the same tactics to hunt them.
Right.
I use a lot of the same tactics, yet they're very different. So
I was really proud of a buddy of ours. My husband mentored him. He taught himself how to turkey hunt on YouTube. Like, watch the videos,
Wow.
the calls, scout it all. I mean, he wanted to hunt, so he said
YouTube's
only way. It's the only way he had. He didn't know anybody that hunted.
Yeah.
So he taught himself using YouTube, and so he got his first few turkeys. Was a really great ambassador for our sport now because he's only a few years into it. So my husband mentored him, and he's tagged out 2 years in a row on a blacktail hunt. And man, he's not afraid to scout and get up. He's gone out totally solo on his own and gotten a couple really, pretty decent blacktail bucks, considering like stuff that I'm like, I've gone out more than that, and I haven't got one of those yet.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. But man, he's managed to do it, and just pure persistence. And he's one of the best ambassadors now for our sport, simply because he's a huge foodie. So he's
that helps.
all about, he can talk about using as many parts of the animal as he can, and, he does some really exciting stuff with it.
I've even been eating like the cheek meat and the tongue and everything. It's Meat Eater and Ryan Callahan. They've just ruined me. Like I'm like all about it. I've even had the, what do you call them? Like the oysters?
Oh,
those are
that's
good too.
What do you call them?
Rocky
The
Mountain
oysters?
oysters.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
They're good.
That's probably my favorite food in the whole world.
Yeah. I'm
What?
You know
Yeah,
what my
they're so
favorite
good.
is cougar.
really.
Oh, I
It
heard
really
that.
is. Yeah,
Huh.
we've had some. We've
It's like
challenged quite a
pork,
few people.
isn't it? Like
it's a much better version of pork. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
that's crazy. I do want to get a cougar. I shot a bear that gave me 250 pounds of meat at the end that we ate for like a year. So,
You know that Randy found a kill on top of the property we're having our Oregon camp in this year last week, and when he went up there, there was a cougar on it, so we got our first cougar off of our
Yeah, I
own
saw
property.
that photo while I was
That
at a
is
trade
wild.
show. I was jealous.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Randy and Candy are doing their part for predator management.
That's cool. Yeah, it's something I've never done before. So,
It's a hoot. I love doing that.
so Candy,
Yes.
before we go, who I think it's important for people who are listening to know who is supporting
Right.
this kind of activity, because I think it's a really good activity. It broadens hunting, gets more people involved
Yes.
in the outdoors. So I want to make sure we cover those companies.
Yes.
Who else is helping? We talked about Bravo and Leupold, and we talked about
Weatherby and Benchmade. Mountain Ops stepped up big time last year and have promised to do that again this year, so they're great.
Kafaru.
has, Cryptech. Coast Products here in Portland, also another local company that does the flashlights. Every lady got a really nice flashlight last year.
I have one. It's like
they're amazing.
spotting. It's like a what do you call it? Spotlight. It's like it's intense. It's got a big battery pack in the back. I'm like, my dad like geeks out on that. He likes light.
Yeah. So there's a lot of companies that are helping. The Little Skull Hooker stepped up last year and gave us some donations. Tyne Towers. Each of these ladies go home with something. We have an incredible goodie bag that Asha helps me put together that has a little bit of everything in it for them.
Cabela's.
Yes, Cabela's, Onyx Maps. they do the orienteering class, and the ladies all have to learn how to do that, which is super important. And we can't do it without these companies.
Yeah.
But what I found that's so super exciting for me as these companies come forward and say, I want to help, like when Riza did last year, I'm like, what can we do for them? Because we don't want to lose them. We want this so bad. And yeah, I talk to these ladies, either social media or just as I'm passing by, and they are so loyal. I know for a fact that Bowtech sold 10 bows last year. I know for a fact that Weatherby sold 5 Camillus. And there's probably more. These are the ones that I know of. Cafaro, I mean, they don't. Most women wouldn't even think of it as a pack.
Yeah.
We sold 4 just from the camp that I know of, and I'm sure the same with Leopold.
Yep, absolutely.
These ladies are so. I mean, they're loyal. Some of them have gone home and used these products and got their husbands to now use them.
Yep.
I love it.
Gifts for family members. You get those emails, and
It's great.
That's great.
So I feel like we are hopefully
Giving back to
yes.
those that are giving to you.
Yes.
That's cool. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for coming on the Gertie Bowman podcast.
Bet.
And hopefully
awesome.
people go to women's camp. ladieshunting.com. I was getting there. ladieshuntingcamp.com, and that they register. And if they have any concerns or questions at all, they can reach out to you at Ladies Hunting Camp on Instagram. They can DM you. They can hit you on the Facebook page, or they can send you an email.
That's
and
correct.
it's all right there on your website.
Yes, that's correct. And unless I'm off on a hunt, I'll respond right away.
Awesome. All right, folks, stay gritty.
Thank you.
In 1907, only 41,000 elk remained in North America, and in 1950, only 12,000 pronghorn remained. Today, there are more than 1 million elk and 1.1 million pronghorn. Why? Because hunting is conservation. In 1937, hunters actually requested an 11% tax on guns, ammo, bows, and arrows to help fund conservation. That tax so far raised more than $8 billion for wildlife conservation. Altogether, hunters pay more than $1.6 billion a year for conservation programs. No one gives more. It's obvious that hunters care about animals, and yet we actively hunt and kill them. Many people cannot understand this dichotomy. How can we both care about animals and also kill them? It's a question that I challenge all of you to consider. Here is an excerpt from the Gritty Bowman film, Alberta, with a quote from Fred Bear that describes my feelings on this subject. The first shot on this buck was fatal, and it cleanly pierced his vitals, but he didn't go down. I hate to see animals suffer, and when possible, I will always shoot them again if I have the opportunity. I have tremendous respect for this buck and his will to survive. He didn't go down easy, and I have mixed emotions about that. At times like this, I am reminded of a quote by Fred Bear, which somewhat describes my thoughts on this matter. Quote, I have always tempered my killing with respect for the game pursued. I see the animal not only as a target, but as a living creature with more freedom than I will ever have. I take that life if I can, with regret as well as joy, and with the sure knowledge that nature's way of fang and claw and starvation are a far crueler fate than I bestow. I do not hunt for the joy of killing, but for the joy of living, and the inexpressible pleasure of mingling my life, however briefly, with that of a wild creature that I respect, admire, and value. We can argue as much as we like, but the fact is, hunting is man's oldest and most successful try at life. Every human being is alive today because our ancestors hunted. So it's a relatively new phenomenon for people to regard hunting as a cruel and frivolous activity that has no worth outside of personal gratification for the hunter. The funny thing is, hunting has increased my appreciation for wild animals and wild places, not decreased it. And as I watch society lose its ties to wildlife and conservation, I feel my bond with nature grow ever stronger in direct correlation to my time spent hunting. I understand now more than ever that hunting is the greatest hope for creating the next generation of true conservationists. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting in the outdoors. Our wild animals and wild places depend on it. We thank Kifaru, Mountain Ops, Hoyt, Vortex, Phelps Game Calls, Black Eagle Arrows, and Crispy Boots for supporting the Gritty Bowman. We love these companies and the people behind them. They truly make fantastic products. Please support them however you can. As always, Good luck on your hunts, and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.